Hey guys, it's Wahima, but just call me Wah. Melanated! Welcome to my recap of 90 Day Fiancé. This is season 7, episode 13. Can I get a witness? Can I get a witness? Witness! I don't even know where that's from. So this is the episode in which everyone gets married. This is the final episode of the season. We have next week a 2-hour tell-all, which looks like it's going to be so juicy and so good. I'm actually very excited for it. This episode wasn't that exciting. I mean, well, 2 people got married the last episode. Now the rest of the couples are getting married this episode, except for Mike and Natalie. So since I just mentioned them, let's talk about it. I really don't know where Mike and Natalie stand. Mike calls Natalie, and Natalie alludes to something that Mike has done that was dishonest, and Mike refuses to tell us what's going on. It's just very confusing. So basically, Natalie's just like, you owe me an apology. Mike is like, tell me what you think. Do you love me? What's happening in this relationship? And it's just this really weird stalemate of a scene that we don't need. I mean, frankly, I'm not invested in them anymore. So the next couple that we're going to talk about is Marcel and Anna. So with Marcel and Anna, Marcel gets to the US. Anna, Gino, and Leo hop in the car. They've got 3 hours or 2 hours or some amount of short hours to get Marcel from the airport, take him back to the house. She has to get into hair and makeup, and they need to finish setting up the backyard. So this is crunch time. All in all, everything comes together. Anna looks very beautiful. Marcel comes to the door while she's getting ready with her friends and breaks the Western tradition of the man not seeing the bride before the wedding, but like literally they just saw each other 2 hours ago, so like what is the big deal? Her friends come over and help her set up everything in the backyard. Joey's not there. He opted to stay with his grandmother, and his grandmother opted not to come to the wedding, which I found to be like really sad. They have a lovely ceremony in which I believe Marcel doesn't understand one word that is being said. Leo ends up walking her down the aisle. It's a cute little ceremony, and I'm happy for them. I know most people were like over this couple and they didn't like them, and they're just like, blah, they're boring, and Anna's a terrible mother, but it was interesting. Their love and the fact that she is in love with this guy who, like, if he spoke English, seems like he'd be quite adult. He seems like he's one honeycomb short of a full hive. I made a bee joke and I don't even know if it's gonna land. So they got married and they're happy, and they had 2 hours left before his visa expires, and I assume they gotta hurry up and put in the paperwork and get everything done. Gino and Leo seem very happy about the union. They're supportive of their mom. They saw their mom happy, and they're happy for her. I think they're great kids. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. The next couple that we are going to talk about, Robert and Annie. So we open the episode with Robert on his way to the wedding chapel, and we have Annie who's already at the wedding chapel with her hairdress friend. I don't remember her name, her hairdresser friend, and a couple of Robert's sisters, because Annie has no one. Annie ends up looking so beautiful. I mean, she's got a little tiara with a veil. She's wearing her red shoes. So their theme of their wedding is red and white, and I think it's cute. She's got red roses, and oh, Bryson walks her down the aisle, and it looks like Robert is super nervous. This is the best I've ever seen him look. Like, his edges are good. His hair is corn rolled and I like it. He looks nice in the suit. It's a nice moment. We get to the altar and the officiant says, if anyone has anything to say, please hold your peace. And Robert is like, I have something to say that I didn't say before. It leads us to believe that he's actually gonna stop the wedding and be like, I can't do this. It turns out that he gets on his knee and he proposes to her and says that he should have done that for her a long time ago. And she's crying. She's trying so hard not to mess up her makeup. Annie was very happy afterwards, and she's like, you know what, we're gonna have 10 kids. And he's like, no, I didn't say we're gonna have 10 kids. I didn't say that at all. But it looked like a cute wedding. It kind of reminded me of Marcelino and Brittany's wedding, if you watch Love After Lockup, without the jail. But the colors were similar. The next couple that we're going to talk about is Blake and Jasmine. Blake and Jasmine have a super basic ass wedding. He goes and buys her some white flowers and cuts the thorn off of them so she could have a bouquet. And she acts like she's never seen a wedding in her entire life. I just don't understand when people are like, I've never been to a wedding, I don't know what to do. I'm like, girl, you've never seen a wedding on TV? She's like, oh, what do I do with these flowers? And I was just like, okay, this is too much for me. This is too much. This is too much. Okay. They got married in a park. Mom is still not super jazzed about Jasmine and her not wanting to work, but she's there and she's supportive. Blake has 3 of his friends and they go on camera looking like the Secret Service, all in sunglasses. They get married in a park. She walks down. Her parents are there. It's a nice, clean, simple wedding, and that's what she wanted. She says that whenever she thought about herself getting married, she always thought about her and Blake in a courthouse, or her and Blake in a really, intimate, small setting, and that's exactly what it was. It happened in a park near his hometown. They had chairs, they had an altar, they had an officiant, and nobody cried. Her dress was cute. She was wearing like a white cocktail dress, and it was very, very tight. Her makeup was all right, I don't believe in their love at all, so it was really hard for me to get into it. Just watching 2 people walk around in a park and get married, like, who cares? So the next couple that we're gonna talk about, Juliana and Michael. Interestingly enough, Juliana was not in this episode that I can recall. So Michael has gone around the corner to Sarah's house to drop off Max and Cece, and they end up having a conversation about the prenuptial agreement. And Michael says, you know what, I didn't do it. I didn't get one. It caused a lot of stress and problems in our marriage, and at the time it just didn't seem important. And Sarah's like, well, what about Max and Cece? And Mike says, you know what, they'll be fine. I've put certain assets in certain places, and it will be fine. We'll work it out. And Sarah's like, okay. Which leads me to believe that this was all a setup from producers anyway, to get her to ask. I mean, Sarah has money too. I'm sure they've been put money aside for Max and Cece. And she just says that she understands why it got Juliana so upset, because Juliana thought that she was going to be able to depend on Michael, and that this was something like he was going to be forever supportive of her. And the fact that he's talking about making plans if they're not together or whatnot upset her. My thing is that a prenuptial agreement also comes into play if Michael were to pass away. So that's my thing. It's not necessarily about whether or not if they get divorced. It's just Michael's no longer around due to unforeseen circumstances. But Sarah's just like, you know what, I get it. So I'm okay with it. She talked a little bit about her wedding with Michael, and I was just like, oh, this is so weird and inappropriate. But inappropriate, not inappropriate. But it is what it is. That's their relationship. And if it works for them and their children and their lifestyle, like, who cares? I'm not interested in telling people how they need, I am interested in telling people how they need to behave. But like in this scenario where 3 healthy adults are raising 3 children and everyone's fine with it, it's like having a sister wife, and I'm okay with that. The next couple that we're going to talk about, Angela and Michael. They go to see the registrar of marriage, which is something that we don't have here in the US, or if we do, I don't understand. Basically, they're going to go talk to somebody, some like government official, about registering for marriage. And that person is sexist, because Angela had to stick out her hand in that man's face for him to even pay attention to her. And I never thought I'd be sticking up for Angela, but the amount of like sexism that she had to endure in that little movement from the front of the door all the way into the office was just so ridiculous to me. The guy introduces himself to Michael, shakes Michael's hand, and Angela's like, and I'm Angela. Thank you. And he's like, oh, yeah, woman, you. And so basically she asks the question wearing the most god-awful earrings. I love a hooped earring, but a snakeskin green hooped earring, or like an emerald green hoop earring, it was just like egregious. I was taken aback. He explains to her that they have to get married in Nigeria in order for him to be able to go to the US because of what's been going on. He's, I guess, up to speed in what's happening with the K1, and he's like, this is really the only way. But the caveat is that you have to have a witness from your family, a brother, a dad, an uncle, a friend, a cousin, a sister. Like basically all the men in your family first and then the women. And then you have to come over here and they have to witness. And she's like, none of my peoples are going to want to come to Nigeria to do this, so I don't know. And he's like, well, that's what you need. So the next time you come, you got to bring one of them with you. She's thinking that this is the only way that they're ever going to be married. And, she feels like it is her God-given American right to be able to marry this man and bring him over to Nigeria. And she's going to do what she has to do. She's sad about it, but she's willing to do what she has to do. The next day, her and Michael go to the airport, and it's a really sad send-off because she just feels like she's tired of having to wait for Michael to come and be in her life permanently. Michael ends up giving them matching jewelry that has each other's names on it, and I'm just like, oh, that's so sweet. I want a nameplate. I want a nameplate of my name, but if somebody wanted to give me a nameplate of their name and then wear a nameplate of my name, that is so cute. And she was so happy for it, and she kisses him. She gives his butt a little tap before she leaves, and she's like, gotta be back on this plane and take this long journey home. Hopefully get somebody to come back with me so me and Michael can get married. Oh God, this is the third time, child. The third time. Or the second time. I don't know. Anyways, so Angela goes home, and that is the end of their love for this chapter. The next couple that we're going to talk about, Tanya and Sinjin. They're late, as per usual with Tanya. They got an Airbnb to have the wedding in the backyard of. As she's getting things ready in the backyard, the guests start arriving, and then they want to do interviews with her, and she can't even concentrate on the interview because she's looking off to the left. And you know, her and Sinjin are driving around the car beforehand picking up supplies, and they don't even have their vows written, and you know, it's really high anxiety. His friend Jared, I can't say his name, comes over and helps them put stuff together, and Tanya is like, I'm gonna have to take a bird bath, and I can't take a full shower before my wedding. And I think to myself, if you're already late, you might as well take a full shower. I don't understand why, after setting up everything in this backyard, she can't just hop in the shower, hit the hot spots, you know, give it a once with a rag. With a rag. And then get out and lotion up and put her outfit on. But I hope she did. I just hate the way the producers left me looking at her in that wedding dress thinking, you dirty bitch. We already don't like her. Now we know she got married dirty. Anyways, it was actually a really sweet wedding. Her mother looked like a lunatic with that red dress on that was just so ill-fitting up here, but it was so sweet. And her dress actually looked nice on her. I wasn't mad at it, and it ended up being a good time. And his vows to her was so sweet. He got on one knee and he said all these great things, and then she made a bunch of promises. And really, I do think that where we caught this couple is kind of an injustice. Like, I know that Tanya is somebody that we don't like, and I don't necessarily dislike her. I just am sad that we got to see her at her worst on TV. She's working through a lot of things, and I think she's aware that she's working through a lot of things, and that's what's important, that she's self-aware. We're watching her just be the worst, but hopefully after this whole experience and watching herself on TV, she'll grow and be better. We caught her in a bad time. I still want to like Tanya. I still want to like her, okay? I just wish that she'd washed her body. Alright you guys, so that's the end of this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, and if you liked what I said here, share it with your friends. This wasn't that entertaining, but I don't think the episode was that entertaining. This whole season wasn't that entertaining, if we're honest, right? I mean, Robert and Annie are the ones that kept us going forward. We were sort of interested in what Blake and Jasmine were going to do, but then they didn't give us anything. And then Sasha seemed like he was going to be interesting, but then it just got more machismo and more boring and more like, ugh, we just see him being this great liar who doesn't love this woman and only wants the K1 visa to get to the US. Michael and Angela, like, they're not as interesting as they were their first season. Mike and Juliana, there was a little friction, but overall Max and Cece stole the show, and we're grateful for them. And drunk Sarah, you know, it just, if it wasn't for Robert and Annie, like, what would this season even be, right? I did like Marcel and Annie, but I know a lot of people didn't like them, so it's just all over the place. So that's why this episode wasn't that interesting. It's not my fault. Okay, I'm hilarious. All right, you guys, go ahead and check out these videos here. Stay a while on YouTube, you know, watching my videos, let YouTube know, let that algorithm know who you like. You know what I'm saying? Me. And remember to be you, be true, and find your place. Bye.